Good afternoon, brothers and sisters.
Good afternoon.
Come on, you can do better than that. Thank you. You know, as I start, I want to say a word about the 3 policemen who were killed in Baton Rouge this weekend. All 3 of them were our union brothers. And our hearts break for their families and friends and fellow officers. The labor movement condemns, in the strongest terms possible, the violence against those who risk their lives to keep us safe. And we will not rest in our effort to build stronger bridges between police and the communities that they're sworn to serve. Would you please join me in a moment of silence for our brothers who died in the line of duty. Thank you. And I want to thank you, Brother Newt. I appreciate you and your union tremendously. Solidarity and a commitment to America's middle class are front and center for the Boilermakers. And I want to thank you for bringing me to Vegas to speak to your convention, because your union is strong and has a very, very powerful future, because your values are exactly in the right place. I particularly want to acknowledge the Boilermakers' vision and activism when it comes to responsible stewardship of union financial resources. And I'm talking about your leadership with the Bank of Labor. Now, sometimes I run across people who don't understand why the labor movement needs a bank, or why we should use our assets to be active corporate shareholders to make our voices heard on Wall Street. And here's how I explain it. Money is just like anything else. It can be organized as a tool for us or a weapon against us. And when we don't use it as a tool, our opponents use our own money to beat us down. Now think about that for a moment. Well, for nearly a century, the Bank of Labor has organized the financial resources of working families for working families. Now, with the leadership of the Boilermakers, we've taken that small bank to a much larger platform. It's primed for major growth, and as it expands, so will the future fortunes of working families. Brothers and sisters, thanks to the leadership of the Boilermakers, we can earn solid returns, create union jobs, strengthen pensions, and expand the middle class. That's our vision, and it grows from our values and what we need to live a good life. And always remember what I'm about to say. Always remember that our agenda drives our politics, not the other way around. America's labor movement doesn't work for any party or any candidate. We work for working people, period. Yes, we stand with candidates who stand with us, but we'll never stop holding them accountable, and we will never put the interests of any candidate or any party above the interests of our members. Because when we mobilize around our issues, we build power. Just look at how raising wages has grown as an issue in this election season. See, together, working people have changed the debate. We're no longer talking about jobs. We're talking about good union jobs that allow you to support yourself and your family. And that's not all. Look at trade. For years, the Wall Street and Washington elite have tried to paint us as against trade. Well, we're not. You see, this isn't a yes or no question. Show us a trade deal that raises wages and standards, and we'll be the first to support it. But what we won't do, what we refuse to do, is to allow another corporate trade deal to be shoved down our throats. We will stop it anytime they try to shove it down working people's throats. I promise you that. And that's why, with your help, the labor movement kicked the Trans-Pacific Partnership to the curb. And that's not all. Because of your leadership, the Democratic Party recently adopted the most pro-worker trade language in its history. And if elected, Hillary Clinton has promised no TPP and an entirely new direction on trade. You see, we seized the momentum. Good wages and quality jobs are mainstream ideas in America today. And that's why our labor movement is popular. That's also why our popularity is growing among young workers, women, people of color, just about anybody else that you can think of that works for a living. We've expanded the scope of what our labor movement fights for. And we're expanding our democracy by registering and empowering hundreds of thousands of new voters. All this and more is why we're poised to turn our vision into action and into reality. And our vision, the vision of the labor movement, starts with the absolute truth that each and every one of us should be decently paid for the work that we do. And we define what decently means, not someone else. That means having the right to join together to negotiate better wages and benefits, a reasonable work schedule, and a voice on the job. We know that being part of a union is the surest way to get better wages, equal pay, health care, sick days, vacation time. When we stand together, we're stronger together. But you see, this is about more than dollars and cents. It's about a better life. It's about respect and for decency for all working people. No matter who you love or how you worship, no matter what color your skin is or where you were born. See, our vision, the vision of the labor movement, will unite this country and build a better future. And I can tell you, America is hungry for that kind of America again. See, we can do it because we're the one who lights the lights and run the trains, we build the bridges and light the fires. We teach the classes and clean the schools. We clear the roads and load the trucks. We do America's work. We make America go. We want our share of the American dream, brothers and sisters. So let's stand for it. Let's march for it. Let's fight for it. And by God, let's win it. And listen to me for 1 second. In the midst of a major electoral season, we can never lose sight of the needs and priorities of our members and of America's working families. See, that means maintaining a strong focus on winning good contracts, organizing new members, and pursuing policies that improve our lives. And let me give you an example. Like the fact that America will need baseload power from coal-fired plants for the foreseeable future. Even the Department of Energy predicts that we will have coal generation for decades to come. We know carbon capture, use, and storage is necessary to reduce global emissions. The truth is, developing countries around the world are building coal-fired power plants as fast as possible. We can address climate change and be an international energy leader by investing in and developing clean emissions technology. It exists, we should have it, and we won't stop fighting until we make it happen in our country as well. And the same goes for nuclear power. We need to save what we have and build more. We can't meet our climate goals without nuclear power. And that's not an opinion, brothers and sisters. It's simple math. See, there's a right way to clean up the environment and a wrong way. And the right way is by picking technologies that create high-paying jobs for crafts like the Boilermakers and workers everywhere. You see, this isn't a Democrat or a Republican concept. It's simply an idea that makes sense regardless of your politics. Now, I respect the fact that you have not endorsed a candidate for president. But I also know Boilermakers across the country are engaging in the electoral process. Today, in the beautiful city of Cleveland, Ohio, an ugly spectacle has taken place. I'm talking about the Republican National Convention. But it's not ugly because it's a function of the Republican Party. It's ugly because many of today's Republican leaders, foremost among them Donald Trump, are selfish, divisive, often racist, and always mean-spirited. You see, Republicans have a strong tradition of working with unions. It was two Republicans, James Davis and Robert Bacon, who came together to pass the national prevailing wage law. It bears their name today, Davis-Bacon. We will happily work with any politician who will work with us. The doors of the labor movement are always open. But make no mistake about what I'm about to say. Donald Trump is a liar, a hypocrite, and he's a fraud. And through his actions, his words, and his ideas, Donald Trump is profoundly unfit to be president of the United States. And it's not just me saying that. It's Republican leaders that are saying it as well. Mitt Romney, George W. Bush, and look at how many Republicans aren't at the convention this week. 70% of Americans view Trump unfavorably. And is it any wonder? See, name any American value, and Donald Trump is against it. Freedom of religion, freedom of the press, responsibility, equality, unity, integrity. He stands against everything that we stand and fight for, brothers and sisters. And listen to this. Donald Trump thinks our wages are too high. He really said that. I want to do a survey in here. Everybody who thinks your wages are too high, raise your hand. There was one guy in the back that started raising his hand, but then he caught himself. You better check that one out, Newt. That's all I can say. Now, let me ask you one other thing. Anybody who thinks Donald Trump's wages are too high, raise your hand. Yep, I'm going to report that survey back. And I got to tell you one other thing. This drove me crazy. Donald Trump was talking about the American model of business. And he said, if I were a car manufacturer in Michigan, I'd shut all my plants down. I'd move all my plants to the deep south and pay those workers near minimum wage. And when the workers in Michigan got so hungry that they'd accept the same wages, I'd move them back. That's the American model, he said. Well, I want to tell you something. He can take that American model and shove it up where the sun don't shine, because we had that for a long time, and we're sick of that model. And right here in this city, he spent almost $500,000 trying to prevent employees at his hotel in Las Vegas from organizing. Guess what? After all the threats, after all the money he spent, they still voted to unionize almost 3-1. And now, like every union-busting employer, he's refusing to bargain a fair contract with them. And then workers at the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City are on strike as we speak. Here's a question I'd like to ask him. How exactly does denying workers good wages and benefits make America great? Maybe someone can explain that to me. And then there's trade, brothers and sisters. Oh, he talks a great game on trade. But he ships jobs overseas every chance he gets, and he manufactures his products in countries like China and Bangladesh and every place else where they have low wages and non-existent labor protection. You see, he personally profited from NAFTA and said that outsourcing is good. If there was any doubt that Trump detests working peoples, he erased it the day before yesterday or a few days ago when he chose Mike Pence as his running mate. Anybody here from Indiana? There we are over there. Mike Pence repealed Indiana's prevailing wage law, right, brother? Carrier decided to move 1,400 good jobs to Mexico under his watch. And he is an unabashed supporter of right to work, as Donald Trump is. Trump said he doesn't support right to work. He supports it 100%. See, brothers and sisters, Donald Trump made himself rich by making the rest of us poor. And come November, we're going to kick his ass and tell him, just like he says, "You're fired, Donald, you're fired." And in the end, the 2016 presidential election isn't about left versus right, or even Democrat versus Republican. It's bigger than that. See, we're going to find out what we're made of as a country. Are we small-minded? Are we mean-spirited and weak? Or are we ambitious, responsible, courageous, and strong? Do we believe those words that equal justice shall prevail so that every worker has a chance to make a decent living and rise out of poverty and have a better life for their kids? You see, that's what's at stake in this election. You see, in the last few years, something has started to change in America. Working people have come alive again. We've said enough. Enough to an economy designed to keep us down, to lower our wages and damage our families and our communities. We made it clear that any candidate who wanted our support must offer a bold and comprehensive raising wages agenda. And I got to tell you, Hillary Clinton did exactly that. She earned the AFL-CIO's endorsement, and more than that, she won our respect because she is a pro-worker progressive who has fought to make life better for working people, for families, and for children. Time and time again, she's gotten the job done. And she's tough. And here's what drives them really crazy. She's smart. And they can't bully her. She won't kowtow to the threats and all that other nonsense. And she understands that to truly make America great, unions, us, our organizations have to lead the way. And she knows that our economy is not like the weather. How many times have they tried to tell us that? Oh, it's the economy. You can't do anything about it. Brothers and sisters, the economy is nothing but a set of rules. Those rules are made by the men and women that we elect, and those rules have been designed for us to lose over the last 3 decades. It doesn't just happen to us. No drought dried up our pensions. No summer storm blew away good jobs. Greedy corporations drove down our wages. And ruthless CEOs and anti-worker politicians stole our pensions. And billionaires like Donald Trump sold our jobs overseas because our trade deals and our tax policies not only encouraged him to do it, but rewarded him after he did do it. You see, what we do in this election cycle has the potential to transform our entire economy. It's about workers having an equal shot and a fair shake. And we'll keep fighting and marching and keep building to win a new era of good jobs and strong unions and rising wages. And let me tell you something. This year, right now, America's labor movement is unleashing the most comprehensive electoral program in our history. See, our strength grows from our unity. It comes from our activism. And it's up to us, each of us, to motivate each other. And as the leaders of the Boilermakers, it's on you, on your shoulders, to move your members to volunteer and then turn out in unprecedented levels. Keep leading the way. Keep blazing the trail forward. As a national movement, we've been under attack so long, it can be hard to get out of a defensive crouch. It can be hard for our members to start wanting and demanding new things and better wages. They've been beat down so much, too many of them think, just don't take anything away and it's okay. We're in the land of plenty, brothers and sisters. We are the richest nation on the face of the earth at our most rich point in time. Corporate profits have hit record high 3 years in a row. And holding on to what we've got is not acceptable. We deserve a bigger piece of the pie, and we will not stop fighting until we get that bigger piece of the pie. So it's time to stand up strong, brothers and sisters. It's time to mobilize and organize. This electoral season is all about raising wages. And we'll hit the work sites. We'll talk to members. We'll walk the streets and knock the doors. That's what a unified labor movement does. This is what it looks like when working people stand together, union strong. And then after the ballots, all the ballots are counted and the election's been won, we'll be in a better position to organize in the workplace and win strong contracts and better pay. It's up to us. It's up to us. It's up to us to change things, because we'll fix what's broken in our country. We'll heal through solidarity. Together we'll create a better tomorrow. And it won't be easy, and it won't happen in an instant or through one election. We'll have to work for it, brothers and sisters, together, each of us with solidarity, where your picket line is my picket line and my picket line is your picket line. And when I see a worker fighting, I don't care or ask why. I lock arms with that brother and say, that fight is my fight. My fight is his fight. Every day, arms in arms, voting, fighting, winning together to bring out the best of each other, to bring out the best in America, to build the nation we can have, will have, and must have. God bless you.